Welcome! This is another video in my NIV Bible reading series. In this video, I'll be reading through... In this video, I'll be reading through Numbers, chapter 15. NIV stands for New International Version. Let's just get into it. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, after you enter the land I am giving you as a home, and you present to the Lord offerings made by fire from the herd or the flock as an aroma pleasing to the Lord, whether burnt offerings or sacrifices, or special vows or free will offerings or festival offerings, then the one who brings his offering shall present to the Lord a grain offering of 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with 1/4 of hin of oil. With each lamb for the burnt offering or the sacrifice, prepare 1/4 of a hin of wine as a drink offering. With a ram, prepare a grain offering of 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with 1/3 of a hin of oil, and 1/3 of a hin of wine as a drink offering. Offer it as an aroma pleasing to the Lord. When you prepare a young bull as a burnt offering or sacrifice for a special vow or a fellowship offering to the Lord, bring with the bull a grain offering and 3/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with half a hin of oil. Also bring half a hin of wine as a drink offering. It will be an offering made by fire, an aroma pleasing to the Lord. Each bull or ram, each lamb or young goat is to be prepared in this manner. Do this for each one, for as many as you prepare. Everyone who is native born must do these things in this way when he brings an offering made by fire as an aroma pleasing to the Lord. For the generations to come, whenever an alien or anyone else living among you presents an offering made by fire as an aroma pleasing to the Lord, he must do exactly as you do. The community is to have the same rules for you and for the alien living among you. This is a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. You and the alien shall be the same before the Lord. The same laws and regulations will apply both to you and to the alien living among you. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you enter the land to which I am taking you and you eat the food of the land, present a portion as an offering to the Lord. Present a cake from the first of your ground meal and present it as an offering from the threshing floor. But throughout the generations to come you are to give this offering to the Lord from the first of your ground meal." Now, this is when we're talking about offerings for unintentional sins. Now, that the Israelites had to follow under the Mosaic covenant. Now, if you unintentionally fail to keep any of these commands the Lord gave Moses, any of the Lord's commands to you through him, from the day the Lord gave them, and continuing through the generations to come, and if this is done unintentionally without the community being aware of it, then the whole community is to offer a young bull for a burnt offering as an aroma pleasing to the Lord, along with his prescribed grain offering and drink offering, and a male goat for a sin offering. The priest is to make atonement for the whole Israelite community, and they will be forgiven, for it was not intentional, and they have brought to the Lord for their wrong an offering made by fire and a sin offering. The whole Israelite community and the aliens living among them will be forgiven, because all the people were involved in the unintentional sin or unintentional wrong. But if just one person sins unintentionally, he must bring a year-old female goat for a sin offering. The priest is to make atonement before the Lord for the one who erred by sinning unintentionally, and when atonement has been made for him, he will be forgiven. One and the same law applies to everyone who sins unintentionally, whether he is a native-born Israelite or an alien. But anyone who sins defiantly, whether native-born or alien, blasphemes the Lord, and that person must be cut off from his people, because he has despised the Lord's word and broken his commands. That person must surely be cut off. His guilt remains on him. The Sabbath breaker put to death. That's what it's going to talk about next. That was a heading. The Sabbath breaker put to death. While the Israelites were in the desert, a man was found gathering wood on the Sabbath day. Those who found him gathering wood brought him to Moses and Aaron and the whole assembly, and they kept him in custody because it was not clear what should be done to him. Then the Lord said to Moses, "The man must die. The whole assembly must stone him outside the camp." So the assembly took him outside the camp and stoned him to death, as the Lord commanded Moses. And now it's going to talk about tassels. They had like tassels on garments to remind them of the sin of lust, protect them against it. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, throughout the generations to come, you are to make tassels on the corners of your garments with the blue cord on each tassel. You will have these tassels to look at, and so you will remember the commands of the Lord, that you may obey them and not prostitute yourselves by going after the lusts of your own hearts and eyes. Then you will remember to obey all my commands and will be consecrated to your God. I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt to be your God. I am the Lord your God." All right. I really ain't got nothing to say about this. Except, I guess people are going to question the stone to death for gathering wood on the Sabbath. You have to understand, back during the Mosaic Covenant, things were hardcore, man. You do one, you do one thing. There are things that if you did it, you'd be put to death. Like the gathering wood on the Sabbath. That's just how the Lord had it back then. Now, when Jesus came, there was a new covenant. Now, it didn't destroy the old covenant, the Mosaic covenant, but it released us from the sacrificial law, or the ceremonial law, and laws like this that had you where you were going to be stoned if you did something like gather wood on the Sabbath. So it was kind of pacified a little bit, and I know God had a plan for this. God had it for a reason. The Mosaic covenant was a prelude. It was a precursor to the coming of Christ, that we're under now. The covenant under signed by Jesus' blood. And Jesus died on the cross for our sins, and we don't have the ceremonial law, and we don't have we have the moral law left, and we don't have to follow rules like we can't eat shrimp and stuff like that. If we were living in the old covenant times, well, I mean, first of all, I'd be a Gentile, so I'd be like some pagan worshiping Baal or something, probably, unless I was like a foreigner gathered in Egypt. We didn't gather in Egypt. We got gathered to Israel, or a foreigner among the Israelites. But yeah, now we don't have to do things like only where we're not restricted by things that are like such as we can only have in the Mosaic covenant you can only wear garments that aren't of mixed fabric and stuff like that, and we're not under those laws anymore. We still have the Ten Commandments. We have the ceremonial law. I mean, not ceremonial. We have the moral law still. And yeah, that's what I have to say about that. Don't go around stoning people if they're working on Sunday. We don't do that. I work on Sunday, so I guess I'm kind of biased, but still. Like tomorrow's Christmas. Today is Christmas. I'm recording this on Christmas, so I'm doing work on Christmas. I'm going to work out later after this. Do some exercises probably and clean the house, and I got to get ready to go for church. I'm going to church on Sunday, just like every Sunday. I worship the Lord, with my fellow believers. Throughout the week I also worship, in my own time. I read the Bible every day. I pray. I have a prayer session, and I try to have a prayer session at least. So far, I haven't broken the streak. I've done it. This is like a relatively new thing. I've started doing the prayer sessions and stuff like that for at least 30 minutes, or close to that. I try to get to 30 minutes. A dedicated time to pray, not just spouting out the prayer that we all learned, or that many people learned when they were kids. But actually talking to God, and stuff like that. I try to anyway. yeah, but yeah, I don't know. That's all I gotta say. I'm gonna head out.